All right, welcome to another video where my past self lends my future self a hand, starting on 5/25 when I start a new job. So to do that, my past self is going to learn about network automation using this book I picked up from Amazon Kindle. So far, I'm a little bit unhappy with the book, but I'm just going to continue plowing through it. I hope, today's Sunday, so I think I was like, maybe even like 1/8 of the way done with the book. So I'm really not making a lot of progress. The 25th is going to come way faster than I would think. I've made it through 11% of the book, and I think I started this series. So let's look at the date I posted the first video. So go to details. Let's not go to details. Let's go to create, or actually to my account. And then we'll go to my channel, and then we'll look at the date I posted the first video in this hidden playlist. Fortunately, I can't make this public yet because I'm still working at my old job. So the first date, let's see here, it was posted May 1st. So, okay, well, that's not too bad. So May 1st, May 2nd, May 3rd. So after 2 complete days of working on this book, let's just say I was 10% of the way through. So let's do the math and kind of try to see when I can expect to be done with this book. So 2 days is just 10%. So 10 over 100 is going to give us our 10%. So our current percentage divided by the completed percentage, which is going to be 100%, that's going to be equal to the amount we've read so far divided by the total amount we will read, or the amount of time we spent, 10%, divided by 100% of the time we will spend. We'll just call that X. Let's flip it because it doesn't matter which way it is. So we're going to do 100%. So we're going to do 100 divided by 10 times 2, and that will give us the total amount of hours. So 100 divided by 10 times 2, because so far we spent 2 days. So this is going to give us the total number of days it will take to finish this book front to back. So that's 20 days. Today is the 3rd. So I should expect to be able to finish this complete book before I start the new job. But unfortunately, it's just going to be this one book I complete. I was kind of hoping I could look through multiple books before I start. But unfortunately, if I want to make it through this whole book, I've really got to commit to this book and this book alone, which I'm kind of upset to have learned, because so far, as I've mentioned before, I'm really not that happy with it. Let's see here. So where did I... So I think, oh, okay, yeah. So I think I left off here. Notice the auto prompt reset equals false statement in the, oh, no. So where I left off was I couldn't get this command here to work. So let me manage my bookmarks here. This one I'm not going to need anymore. And I'll just put a bookmark here just so I know. And then let's get started. Let's figure out how we can get this connection to work. So it looks like my server powered down for some reason, but it's luckily Cisco images and an Ubuntu server. So it boots up super fast. The Ubuntu server is going to boot up a bit slower than the Cisco images, but still pretty fast. Okay, so we're back. We're good to go. I wish I could get this to be less annoying. There we go. And then I just press escape if I want to see it. Perfect. Okay, that's better. I got to pull up the terminal. All right, and now I can try to connect up to this device. So let's start the Python virtual environment. So it's going to be source bnb bin activate on a Linux environment. On a Windows environment, it's going to be a different command. Oh, okay. I'm not sure what happened that first time, but oh, I typed in active instead of activate. Okay, so let's go into Python 3. From p expect import p x ssh p expect ssh child equals p expect ssh dot p expect ssh. So here's that classic thing we got. Could not establish connection to host. Oh, okay, this looks like a different one. Yeah, it's not giving me a reason back why it can't do that. I'm pretty sure the reason I can't do that though is because of that problem I had. Let me pull up another terminal actually. And then just see if I can ping this address. Yep, I can. I'll check the other one. I can, okay, I'm good. I don't know how to, was it all F4 hopefully? It is all F4, sweet. Okay, so yeah, the, I don't know what it means by the PAID number must be 1, but let's use the help capability of Python to figure out how to send it a KEX algorithm and a cipher that is compatible with the legacy SSH implementation on the Cisco images I have. So it looks like one thing we might be able to do is SSH config equals none. I think we can change that and pull in a file or set some config, and that will allow us to work to use the legacy configuration on the Cisco images, or the legacy SSH implementation. So this is going to be a file path string of an SSH client config file to pass that file to the client to handle itself. You may set any options you wish in here. However, doing so will require you to post extra information that you may not want to if you run into issues. So I'm hoping I can just do that hex equals true, or the kex equals true. So let me do vi Cisco SSH config. and then we're going to say, and we'll just use the help that we got before. So it's going to be Kex algorithm. Yeah. There we go. So we got from here legacy SSH options. So yeah, we'll just set up the host key algorithms equals this, and then cipher equals that. And hopefully that will work. I don't know why it would work, because I'm not given any sort of like syntax or any way to tell it. Basically, I don't have any means to know whether that would work or not. So obviously, I don't know whether that would work. I hope this message will go away. I have a feeling it just never will. Okay, it did. Sweet. Good news, off to a good start. So yeah, this is tough. I don't know how to make this. Okay, let me try this actually, because I don't think I tried exactly this last time. I was just confused why they wanted me to do this special file ssh/config, because I did not have that file. So I thought maybe they wanted me to instead edit a file that I have. Yeah, so there's obviously no config file in here. So I was confused. I thought maybe they wanted me to configure a different config file. But what I'm going to try to do is create this config file new, put in the information they want, and hopefully that will resolve my issue. And then let's just call it Cisco Lab. Oh, well, this is going to be the actual. So 172.16.0 or .1.20. And then host name is going to be for, yeah, it's going to be iOS v-1, I think, or not. Let's just put in the IP. There we go. And now we can do host key algorithms. And now we can put in the algorithm they were doing, which was that Diffie-Hellman group 1. Yeah, I think it was this one. So it's Diffie-Hellman group. I think it was group 1, exchange, and then it was SHA1. I think maybe it's just group. Oh yeah, here we go. So yeah, that's the difference. They're only using SSH1, but this is using SSH256. So I've got to make this backwards compatible with SHA1. In the real world, you won't be using iOS images from 1995 to 2005. So you're going to have more up-to-date SSH. All right, let's see here. So now we need hosts. Now we need to know, so SSH config file, we need to know how to tell it to use a particular cipher. which is going to be difficult. Here we go. Perfect. So what do we need to put in this file in order to have it recognize a particular cipher? Okay, so I think it's just cipher because I think these are the actual things that you put in there. But do we need an S? Yeah, we need an S. So it's just going to be ciphers and then equals plus. So the plus sign means that you append it to the list of currently accepted ciphers. So whatever the default cipher is, we'll be able to use that and this new one that I specified. But obviously the default cipher wasn't working for this host, so it's kind of a extra character that we don't really need, but I think generally it makes more sense to just append than to take away existing options. Unless, of course, it opens you up to a network attack having extra options that you don't need. All right, so I need to figure out what the cipher is that I need to include. So I'm going to open up a new terminal. I'm going to try to hook up a SSH connection to this device. First, I'm going to try to open the new terminal. That seems to be more difficult than I had imagined. I thought it was a matter of just clicking that new terminal, but it looks like it's a matter of waiting for the VM to crash until I can use it again. So yep, something very dire is happening to this VM right now. Really upset by. I was really well on my way to getting this to work. Yeah, I was really close to getting this to work, but now it just doesn't work. One thing I can try is a different method of management. So we can get the IP address for this server. I think it was, let's see if we can get the IP address for the server, and then if we can telnet or SSH into it, find some different form of connecting to it for management, or choose a different console type. Yeah, let's try telnet instead. So let's apply that. Shoot, it must be saved. What about Spice? Do we have Spice? Oh, it's got to be, so no matter what you change it to, it's got to be down. So is this still frozen? Oh, it looks like it's not frozen anymore. Oh, it did. Well, never mind. It looks like it's still frozen. What about request screen refresh? Nope. All right, I think I'm gonna shut it down and restart it. Oh, it's still set to Spice, it looks like. So let's set that back to VNC. That was working good enough for me. All right, so we're back in business. Not sure what happened. Really annoying. I thought there was like a hotkey to bring up a terminal, like Control T or Control Alt T in Ubuntu. Ah, there it is. Okay, it's Control Alt T. So let's activate that virtual environment again. And this is a big mistake you'll see a lot of people new to this do. So I have specified a different path than where this actually is. This / is an actual directory. If I go cd /, it puts me at that directory, and that's the root directory. So this VNV file, ls pipe grep VNV, I don't have that at the root directory, so I would give it the wrong path if I would say source VNV, source / VNV. That would be the wrong path. I can't include a /. That's a common thing that trips a lot of people up. All right, so now we've got the VNV is activated. Let's deactivate it because it looks like I activated it twice. Okay, and I'm just not sure if that would be an issue, so I just want it activated once. Now let's go over to SSH, and we're going to make that config file now as we tried to before, but before doing that, we'll try to SSH to the device. And we'll get that key that we need to, or that legacy SSH config that we need to add. So now let's do a -o, and then we'll do kex algorithm equals diffie hellman group 1 sha1. Oh, I think it has an S. Oh, actually, I forgot the, yeah, there we go. Oh, but it does have an S. There we go. So now we get all the ciphers we've got. So everything's good to go. Let's do a, I would like to do a vi, but let's open up another terminal so that we've got that other one to reference, and then go into SSH and then vi config. And now we can reference that other terminal. It looks like there was already a file open that didn't get closed properly, so I can pull up that file and keep working on it. I actually would like to do that because if that stuff is still on there, I'd like to reuse it. So yeah, I got my work back. So really good feature there. So here's host key algorithms, diffie group. So it is going to have a 1 in it. I do notice that if I include the 1, however, it does destroy the highlighting. So I'm going to leave the 1 off and see if it works without it. Here, I'm going to try to bring this up. And oops, I want to try to switch the terminals to the other one. Yeah, perfect. Aha, perfect. So now I only need to list one of these ciphers for it to work. So I will list the first one. Oh, and for some reason, so this vi, a lot of people will swear by vi. They think it's just the most wonderful tool ever. Me, if I type a character and then the character is immediately deleted, that's a thing that I'm not comfortable using, especially when I'm just doing simple edits. I really want usability is really my #1 thing. Any of optimizations of skills I don't have obviously are not going to be valuable to me. So I think I'm going to switch over to Nano right now because this is a nightmare. So it looks like the letter A puts me in insert mode now. But if I hit any other character, it just deletes what I put in. So I need to find a way to get out of here. Let me try just cancel. Oh, okay. I think I figured it out. It's because I had Alt pressed. Yeah, it's because I pressed Alt. So if you push out Alt, you can see up here, Alt key down. So you've got pushed again, and then it will behave in the way I expect. Perfect. And then it's going to be a plus sign. Okay, and I think it's cipher, not ciphers. I don't think it would turn yellow if I had the syntax wrong, right? So, yeah. Let's do the second one right away. Actually, never mind. Let's test the first one before doing the second one. So, SSH Cisco at 172.16.1.20. Oh, bad key types. So let's put that one there, and maybe that will solve that issue. We're going to recover that file. Exchange 1. Oh, it's going to be group 1, not exchange 1. But it still colors it strangely. Still bad key types. So it says that the key type we need, that exchange, I'm not sure where that word came from, but that's why it's not working. I think it came from my edits. So I have the option of either, so found a swap file by the name .config.swp owned by GNS3, it's this user. So newer swap file number 1, and the program may be editing the same swap file number 2, and edit session for this file crashed. If this is the case, so for number 1, if another program is editing the same file, be careful not to end up with 2 different instances of the same file when making changes. Quit or continue with caution. But I don't think that's what's going on for us. I think number 2 is what's happening. An edit session for this file crashed. If this is the case, use :recover or vim-r config to recover the changes. If you did this already, delete the swap file to avoid this message. So let's go with D, and it will delete it automatically for us. So we no longer have the swap file, we just have the config file. And I could have, of course, gone and done a ls and found that swap file, but okay, it turned blue. Hopefully we're good to go now. Add key types. Diffie-Hellman Group 1 SHA1. But I mean, that's a good, that's kind of a good message though, because it's telling us that this file is actually being read, which is something I was concerned about. So what if I get rid of this plus sign? We still get bad key types, even though if I do the, oh, I don't need this anymore. Kex algorithms, Diffie-Hellman Group 1 -SHA1. Diffie-Hellman Group 1 -SHA1, and it is behaving in a way I expect. So bad key types. Let me see here. Oh. DIFFIEHELLMAN GROUP Bad key types. Bad key types. What do they mean by that? This is a good key type. Does it say does this need to be kex? Ah, perfect. So everything's good. It's just we don't have the remote key for that saved, or we thought it was something different. We did go and regenerate the keys on that Cisco device multiple times. So we're just going to need to, because we've got a key, we're like, hey man, like, you know, we thought you had this public key, but you don't, you know, what's up? You know, it could be an attacker trying to get in. So, you know, trying to set up a man in the middle attack, like, yeah, they've got the public key, but the private key isn't matching. It's just, you know, there's a big problem. This is really fascinating here. So the fingerprint for the RSA key sent by the remote host is SHA-256. So I don't understand why the kex algorithm requires SHA-1 when the fingerprint is SHA-256. But that is okay for now. So I'm just going to resolve this issue. Perfect. So, oh, we failed to read from the known hosts file, no such file or directory. Well, I see it right there. I'll just delete the known host file. It will rebuild after I try to connect. And it will no longer have that offending key in there. It's not always the best way to do it, because if you have connections to thousands of devices, you're going to get that banner back for all of them. My favorite way of authentication, I think, is to use public key authentication, because then you no longer have to enter in your password like you do here. Okay, but everything's good to go. We're set up as they are set up in the lab. So let's keep moving forward. Well, actually, before we keep moving forward, proof of concept is perfect. So let's continue this for the other hosts. And I apologize to really competent VI users for what I'm about to do right now. You know what? I appreciate you guys. I like the competent VI users. So I'm going to copy and paste these 4 lines down on this other line. And in fact, I'm going to perhaps show off something I do know. Set lines. Oops. Okay, yeah, sorry, I embarrassed myself. I know literally nothing about how to use VI. I've been a Windows user my whole life. So, but I'm going to pull up a VI cheat sheet and really take this as an opportunity to get more comfortable with it, because I think VI is a really valuable tool. So let's find something about line numbers. So yank. So here's what I want to do. So let's do this. So let's do we're gonna do yank a line, and we're going to yank the next 4 lines. Oops, which we can't do. How do we yank more than just 1 line at a time? All right, so this cheat sheet's kind of leaving a lot to be desired. Let's find a different one. Here we go. This one looks pretty good. So here we go. Yank 6 lines to buffer Z. So I don't know what buffer Z means, but let's try that. So we're going to be yanking 4 lines. Okay, so that was kind of cool because that whole concept of a buffer, that's basically like our clipboard. So we could see what's in our clipboard after we yanked it. I really like that. Okay, so now let's put in the general buffer after the cursor. Oh. What? Why was there not anything in my general buffer? Because I said, so I did this. I did Z, which means, oh, I need a quote probably. Quote Z for YY. Okay. And now I can go down here and do P. Oops. I can't go down here and do P. That's annoying. Oh, here we go. Aha. So this is going to help me a lot. So set number, that's what I was trying to do when I was trying to get, I did set line, but I want to do set number. I know there's another way you can set number so that it shows it to you in a little bit of a better way. But I don't see that, unfortunately. So this is kind of leaving a bit to be desired as well, but so far it's better than that other one. So length word, yank 6 lines to buffer Z. Let's try that. Let's try yanking 4 lines to buffer Z. So Z, 4, YY. So yeah, it looks like we did that. Press enter or type command to continue. So let's type. So do we need to copy these lines? Okay, well, you know what? I'm sure Vi is a wonderful tool if you've been using it since you were 2 years old, but I am 34, turning into 35 very soon. So for me, I am going to type this all out because I learned to type in middle school and I have lots of experience and years typing, so I am happy to type. Yes, I am wasting time. Yes, I could have myself save time, but I believe I have given it a good enough try. Why, unfortunately for me, is needlessly difficult a lot of the time. Okay, so we're good to go. Yeah, so we're good to go. Let's continue on with the book. Okay. So where we were, we were right here. This line was not working, but it'll work now that we have enabled backwards compatibility for SSH on this Ubuntu server. Yeah, learning Vi is like something I would really like to do, but there's actually a really good game that one of my coworkers recommended for me, where you like move the character by doing Vi commands, and you just get really used to using Vi. I want to play that. Maybe that's a way I can start the video with. It's just spending 5-10 minutes playing that game, because that might get me out the door, or get me on day one performing really well as well. Because that's the point of this series, really, is just to perform as well as I can on day one on the new job. And unfortunately, what I took that to mean was going over this book I picked up from Kindle, but as is very obvious to me, this book really isn't the best way to do that, I think. Learning those Vi shortcuts, getting really comfortable with Vi might be a better option. But I'll give the book a chance. I've only made it through 11% of it so far. So let's just keep going. Hopefully it'll get more valuable later on. And I do remember, to be completely fair to the book, it's recommending to skip a few chapters if you are confident in the basics, which I definitely believe that I am. So let's keep reading. Notice that the auto prompt reset equals false argument in the login method. By default, pxSSH uses the shell prompt to synchronize the output. But since it uses the PS1 option for most of Bash shell or C shell, they will error out on Cisco or other network devices. Putting things together for pexpect. As the final step, let's put everything you have learned so far about pexpect into a script. Putting code into a script makes it easier to use in a production environment, as well as easier to share with your colleagues. We will write our second script, chapter2_2.py. You can download the script from the book GitHub repository. We're not going to do that. We're just going to write it all out. If SSH key has not been generated on the other routers, iOS v-2, we will do so now. So we can skip all this. We've got an SSH key. And let's refer to this following code. We might need to come back to this. So let's bump up our bookmark, get rid of the old one. All right, and let's type all this out. Ah, shoot, and the file name is on the other freaking side. So the file name is chapter2_2. Perfect. One thing that's good to notice about this front line too is if I go import, oh, never mind. I spoke ahead of myself. I thought that this line determined the coloring and highlighting rules as well, but it looks like it'll be there even without this line. All right, and let's make our code look a little bit better than theirs. And then we're going to define this devices dictionary. We're going to use the formatting that I like. Oops. So the formatting I like, I think would have the, well, I thought it would have it here actually. If anyone's curious, the formatting I like is the, from, oh no, it would be up there because, yeah, you'd have this, the second one here. Okay. It's from Kenneth Reit's request module. He has a bunch of formatting that he won't accept code into the request module unless it follows, and some of it differs from PEP 8. But I agree with it. It's what I like to try to follow. Unfortunately, looks like right now I'm having difficulty doing that. I think what I want is, yeah, I want that. And then, okay, so I think we're good to go. Let's put this here. Yeah, so here's the formatting I like. I guess to make it really nice and clean, I'll do the Python new line character there, and then have it be like that. I thought is the new line character that, or is it that? It's that, okay. So here's the devices dictionary. So now let's do the next line. And we can even have this whole thing not indented. I'm sorry, Vi users. I know the pain. I know how badly I'm doing this right now. If you're a Vi user, I apologize. This one I kind of know how to see, and the only reason I understand the pain of Vi users as well too. The only reason I'm having trouble with doing this is because I don't take the time to learn to do it properly. I have the time to do that now, and in fact, the purpose of this video is to be as effective as I can on day one of the job. So I do apologize for that. If I get into another situation, I think I will try pulling up another Vi cheat sheet and doing it a way that's more proper. Oops, so I'm gonna put this on the next line. Okay. I'm not sure why there's a comma here. Oh, okay, I know why there's a comma there. So in my formatting, I would write this like this. Oh, okay, so this is meant to be within that for loop. Okay, the script further expands from our first pexpect program with the following additional features. So let's save it before we continue reading on. You can see I already lost the thing I was on, so luckily I didn't lose the file. So it's not letting me save it though, which is concerning. Because until I save it, there's a possibility I could lose it. So the fact that it's not letting me eliminate that possibility is pretty upsetting. Yep, it's not letting me eliminate the possibility of losing it. Okay, so I'm in edit mode right now, so I just need to do :Q or :W, but when I do :W, it doesn't do that. Aha, okay. It's this client, if I hit Control or Alt, it does wacky things. I might have to switch to a new BNC client. This one's really not working for me. All right. So the script further expands from our first pexpect program with the following attributes. Let's print it out. So it uses SSH instead of telnet. Let's do a pipe less. Yeah, so it uses SSH instead of telnet. Yep, so we're going to import pxSSH. It supports multiple commands instead of just one by making the commands into a list, line 8, and loops through commands starting at line 20. It prompts the user for their username and password instead of hard coding them in the script. It writes the output in two files, iosv-1 underscore output.txt and ios-2 without the v underscore output.txt to be further analyzed. For Python 2, use raw input instead of input for the username prompt. Also use W for the file mode instead of WB. So let's give it a spin. Before we do that though, I did notice there was an error. So we're going to use a different IP address. And I'm curious if the name of it really is, no, it's okay. Well, there we go. All right, let's give it a spin. So commands, we can't do that syntax, unfortunately. I kind of thought that was impossible. Oh, it worked here. I don't know why it didn't work. It worked for the dictionary. It just didn't work for the oh, I see. Okay, I'm missing a yeah, so this has got to be tabbed out like that. And this has got to be tabbed out like that. Yeah, now this has got to be tabbed like this. There we go. And now I need one more here. Okay. Do I need one of these? I don't think I need this. Okay, yeah, I think this is right. Aha, that's right. So username is going to be Cisco, password is going to be Cisco. It looks like I did not put that in right. Let's try that again. CISCO, CISCO. Could not establish connection. So let's look at that file again. So I don't know why it can't establish the connection. I would think it would be able to. Let's see where it's trying to do that. So it's going to be down here. It's going to be this line here, child. So we've got the IP, username, password, auto prompt. And here we're going to be looking for the prompt. I don't know what's going on. IOSV, prompt IP, prompt IP. Yeah, I don't know what's going on here. So it failed on line 37. So line 37, and not necessarily right on line 37, but this, yeah, this login failed for some reason. Let's try just logging in without using this. Okay, so no problems there. Yeah, so I am noticing that they didn't include something really important Actually, no, they included it. What is going on? Devices, device IP. For devices in devices.keys. Okay, so yeah. Oh, you know what? Oh, okay. Oh wait, no. So device prompt, devices, device IP, devices, device IP. So that's going to equal that. 16.120, 16.221. Why is this not working? Auto prompt reset. Devices. Okay. Could not establish connection to host. Auto prompt reset equals false. So there's an issue with that, it looks like. What do they have in here? I thought that's what they had. Auto prompt reset equals false. Auto prompt reset. I don't see where they have that. Oh, here we go. Auto prompt reset equals false. So yeah, they have that there. Where is, so Cisco auto prompt reset equals false. Okay, and that's child.login. Is that what I have? Child.login. Yeah, I have it. Okay. Well, what if I said that's true? Then it just says that line's false. Oh, that line's bad. Isn't there a way? Because I have learned a little bit about by. So there's like in a word, right? Or like I don't know. So let's set this back to false because that's what they've got in their example. But there, it looks like there's some issue. So I'm gonna actually, I think, print out this. So print devices, device IP. Oops, and we can't put it there. So let's put it up here. Print devices, device IP. .172.16.2.21. Oh, okay. So yeah, there's a problem with that host. Let's fix that problem. So you can see there, like a good way to troubleshoot your code is to add those print statements in there. Again, this, as I'll constantly say, this book leaves a lot to be desired. because just adding print statements is unfortunately not the best way you can do that. Best way is to set up a centralized logging server, but I doubt this book will go over that, unfortunately. Let's oh yeah, let's do a show key or show IP. Oh wait, no, it's crypto. Yeah, here we go. Key. I thought it was show key or show crypto. What is it? Show. It could be something ridiculous like show IP crypto, which makes no sense if it is that. I don't think it is that. I think it's show SSH. No. Oh, okay. So this is a good enough command. This isn't the command I wanted to find, but please create RSA keys to enable SSH. I haven't done that yet, so I'm going to do that now. All right, and now my life is going to be a lot easier. I'll take that print statement out. Oops, that's the wrong file. Oops, this is the wrong file as well. Okay, so it looks like that file has disappeared. Oh, I misspelled it, okay. There it is, okay, sweet. So now I don't need this print statement anymore. I can comment it. I think I'm going to delete it. So I can do 1D, I think. Yep, and it's deleted. And now I'm going to do a WQ. And I'll do a Python on this. Oh, there's an unexpected indent. I'm gonna fix that. Oh yeah, I deleted 2 lines instead of just 1. So it's child dot oh shit, child dot connect. Why would it not be connect? Let's see what it actually is. Login. Okay. God damn it. Okay, so now finally we can see it created a file for the iOS v-1 outputs. We got the show run, we've got everything. So you can see just how valuable this can be. I'm not sure what happened to the iOS dash v I'm not sure what happened to the second one. Oops, and I'm gonna do a rm chapter, get rid of that. And then I'm gonna cat out the chapter 2_2. And with a pipe more. And do because I'm just curious, like why didn't it save the for device and devices.keys output file name? What is the output file name equal? Device, yeah. So why didn't it do the second one? Why isn't it doing this? Oh, because, yeah, you see I got that typo there. They're the same, so it's just going to overwrite that. So that's why it's not doing the second one, because it's just overwriting the first one. So it would have had the information from the second one, but it would have been named after the first one. So now everything's going to go good. Hopefully you can see what a pain this can truly be. So hopefully this will be a real visceral lesson in why you would use the better techniques than this. This is considered the worst technique to use, but we have used it effectively. We've got output text files for each of the devices, and you can see just how effective even a basic network automation like technique like this can use. You can just pull back show runs. You can have a database that keeps track of all your show running configs. You can set it up to automatically go every night at midnight, grab you new show runs. Really, really valuable, even with the basic kind of fundamentals, easiest way to do it. All right, so putting things together for pexpect as the final step, let's put everything you have learned so far about pexpect into a script. Putting code into a script makes it easier to use in a production environment. I think we've already done this. Yeah, this is what we just did. So this script further expands from our first pexpect program with the following additional attributes. It uses SSH instead of telnet. It supports multiple commands instead of just one by making the commands into a list, line 8, and loops through the commands starting with line 20. It prompts the user for their username and password instead of hard coding them in the script. That's huge, because if somebody just prints out that script, they're going to get all your passwords. One thing you can do is put all your passwords in a separate file aside from that script, and then lock down that file so that only you can access it. Then the script can still, well, in that case, so this can get really difficult, and there are ways to come around this, multiple ways. The way I came around it was I put up a demilitarized script. So people don't run my script. They run the script that runs my script. And the script that runs my script runs with my permissions. So when they run that script, it has the permission to look at that password file and feed it to the script that that I want them to actually run. And so they use a script to run my script, and by doing that, when they run my script, they run it with my permissions, but they don't get any say in what's in my script. They don't get any control over that script. The only control they have is whether or not that script runs, and if that script runs, then it pulls in the passwords from my directory, which they do not have access to. That is how I solve that problem. All right, the Python Parameco library. Parameco, so this I have a lot of experience in. Parameco is a Python implementation of the SSH version 2 protocol. Just like the PXSSH subclass of pexpect, Parameco simplifies the SSH v2 interaction between the host and the remote device. Unlike PXSSH, Parameco focuses only on SSH version 2 with telnet support. So there's a big plus for Parameco. You pick up Parameco, you're going to be learning stuff that you'll be able to directly apply in the real world. You pick up pexpect, you're going to be learning is it okay to have Telnet in the production? Well, not. Like, we moved on. It's no longer 1980. Rod Stewart is now an old man. He might even be dead right now, as far as I know. Parameco is a, yeah. It also supports both client and server operations. Parameco is a low-level SSH client behind the high-level automation framework Ansible for its network modules. That's one thing I've kind of never understood is why do you need something like Ansible if you have something like Parameco and you can learn Parameco instead of learning Ansible, because both are not easy to learn, but if you learn Parameco, you can do everything that Ansible is doing, because Ansible is just a framework of Parameco. But if you learn Ansible, you can't do everything that Perimeco is doing, because it's just a subset of the options of Perimeco. So I never quite understood that. Someone can explain it to me. Let me know in the comments once this goes live on the 25th. We will cover Ansible in chapter 4, the Python automation framework, Ansible basics, and chapter 5, the Python automation framework beyond basics. Let's look at the Parameco library. Installing Parameco. Installing Parameco is pretty straightforward with Python pip. However, there is a hard dependency on the cryptography library. The library provides low-level C-based encryption algorithms for the SSH protocol. The installation instruction for Windows, Mac, and other flavors of Linux can be found there. We will show the Parameco installation of our Ubuntu 18.04 virtual machine in the following output. The following output shows the installation steps, as well as Parameco successfully imported into the Python interactive prompt. All right. So I got a backup notification, unfortunately. I really do not want that. And I accidentally moved the Zoom controls. I really do not want that either, so I'm going to hide them. And I really do not want this press escape message. Okay, so it's gone. So we are good to go. Let's do sudo apt git install build essential libssl dev lib FFI dev and Python 3 dev. So let's do a yes. Okay. All right, so now it's time we've got our virtual environment activated, so we'll be installing cryptography and Python in our virtual environment and not in our global environment. It's typically better because if you want to install a specific version for backwards compatibility, as we saw, it can be definitely a big thing with our SSH troubles. You can do that just for your specific project and not for the whole server, which multiple people might be sharing. Looks like I misspelled cryptography. I forgot the P. All right, so it found it, it's collecting it. It might take a while for that to happen. It's going pretty fast. So yeah, I don't really have much else to say while it's going. Kind of feeling a little bit better about this book now that it's moving, but unfortunately it took it the first 12% to kind of get to Parameco. I think the first actual useful thing you learn for network automation. pexpect is just too far outdated. Okay, that's still going. Hopefully this will end soon. Yep, okay, perfect. So pip install Parameco, my favorite module. I love the Parameco module. Ansible's built on it. NetMiko is built on it. And as I said before, what's the point of learning Ansible and NetMiko when you can just learn Parameco and build your own Ansible NetMiko? Like, to me, you're better off learning how to build brick and mortar than how to hang a picture on a brick wall. All right, let us test the library's usage by importing it with the Python interpreter. So let's see here, Python import Perimeco exit. So no problems, we got it. Now we are ready to take a look at Parameco in the next section, Parameco Overview. Let's take a quick look. Let's take a quick Parameco example using the Python 3 interactive shell. Import Parameco time. And this is generally not recommended. Generally, you would put each library you're importing on its own line. But just for the sake of looking at it for the first time, nothing wrong with that. We're not typing out a script that we want to be Pepe compliant right now. We're just learning about the module. Now, I wish they would talk more about this missing host key policy auto add, because I have heard that this is actually not secure to do this. And if somebody who's a really good network automation person sees you doing this, they would object to seeing you doing this. But every single learning resource I've ever seen has used this. And I actually did encounter someone in my professional life who criticized what I was doing, saying it was screen scraping or something like that. And then I looked at the code they were using, and they were doing the same thing I was doing. They were just kind of using Parameco in a different way, but they were still doing the Parameco.AutoAdd, which fundamentally there's no difference after you've made that decision between your security, the way you're connecting, all that. So they were just kind of putting pink frosting on their cake, and I was putting yellow frosting on my cake, and they were saying that my cake is no longer edible. Well, it's just as edible as your cake. We're both using eggs, flour, and sugar. It's just the color of my frosting is a little bit different from yours. So I don't understand what the issue is. But this here, that's kind of a tangent. This here is a little bit controversial because this is talking about that message that comes up and you say yes or no when you first, here, I won't demonstrate that because I don't want to type this all again, but you hit yes or no if you want to save the public key. This will just automatically hit yes no matter what, which can be a security risk. All right, let's use that special Kenneth Reed's request module syntax, or not syntax, formatting. Oh, I think he would have a indentation there. Okay, so we're connected to the device now. Let's do a help on that connection. And this is all the things we can do. The next thing we're going to do is invoke shell. Let's take a look at the help on that. So this is start an interactive shell session on the SSH server. Perfect. Boom, we're good to go. Moving on. So put equals, and this is the kind of stuff I've done a lot at work. I actually had trouble with this connection.receive because the new connection, what the hell, where did that come from? Oh, okay, they renamed, okay. So they made a new connection for some reason. New connection equals connection. I'm gonna start over. Not sure why they're saying it's a new connection. Why they're not just invoking the shell on the existing connection. That's kind of interesting. I've never seen that before. All right, back to where we were. Let's continue on to the next page. So as I was saying, this receive 500, we'll take a look at the help for that afterwards. So yeah, let's do a help new connection.recv, and we can see receive data from the channel. The return value is a string representing the data received. The maximum amount of data to be received at once is specified by n bytes. If a string of length 0 is returned, the channel stream has closed. So this is key. This is key right here. The maximum amount of data to be returned at once. So we have specified that as 500 bytes. I have found in production, you have these massive show runs on these massive devices. 500 bytes is not enough. So what is the highest amount? For me, I think it was 65535 was the highest number of bytes, which seems super long, but for me, I have found that is actually not enough. So I actually wrote a function that will take the maximum amount of bytes, put it into a list, and then go back and pull out more until it's pulled them all back, and then give you that back, everything that was able to take out, because this maximum number of bytes here, I have found was not enough to pull back everything I needed to pull back. So that's kind of my function that had made this all possible for me. Without that function, I don't think it would have been possible to use the Parameco module in the environment I was using it in. And I think, you know, as I've complained about this book so much, and a big reason why it's got one strike for me right now, is talking about the unicorn environment. Like if we're not talking about that, about huge, gigantic show runs, huge amounts of data, pulling back, we're really not talking about a practical place that you will be applying these concepts. So we're kind of just wasting everyone's time. Now here's one key thing to notice. It's different from the p-expect. We have to include the new line character with these. Otherwise it just sends all those characters, but it never sends the carriage return. Whereas p-expect, it will automatically do that for you. It's kind of an advantage of p-expect and be kind of annoying to have to remember that. And then if you've got a whole block of commands, it could be annoying to add that new line at the end of each command. But it's I found it's as long as you're using Notepad++, editing, things like that isn't all that bad. All right, so now we got the version back that's in bytes. Everything is looking good. So let's close that connection and move on. All right, the time.sleep function inserts a time delay to ensure all the outputs were captured. This is particularly useful on a slower network connection or a busy device. The command is not required, but is recommended depending on your situation. Even if you are seeing the Parameco operation for the first time, the beauty of Python is its clear syntax means that you can make a pretty good educated guess at what the program is trying to do. All right, so let's do this other example here. If it will allow me to, and it will, sweet. So Python imports Parameco connection equals Parameco.sh clients connection dot set missing host key policy Parameco dot auto add policy connection dot connect 2.16.1.20 username equals Cisco, password equals Cisco, look for keys equals false, allow agent equals false. The first 4 lines create an instance of the SSH client class from Parameco. The next line sets the policy that the client should use regarding keys. In this case, iOS v-1 is not present in either the system host keys or the applications keys. In our scenario, we will automatically add the key to the application's host keys object. At this point, if you log on to the router, you will see the additional login session from Parameco. So let's take a look at that. We're in router 1. Come on, let me resize. Won't let me resize. Okay, well, that's fine. So let's look at the command they're using. Will it seriously not let me resize? It won't. Okay, well, they're using the command who, so we'll use that. And sure enough, we've got myself, console user, but we've also got a user on line 98 sourced from 172.16.1.1, the IP of that ENS4 interface on the Ubuntu server. The next few lines involve a new interactive shell from the connection and a repeatable pattern of sending a command and retrieving the output. Finally, we close the connection. Some readers who have used Parameco before might be familiar with the exec command method instead of invoking a shell. Why do we need to invoke an interactive shell instead of using exec command directly? Unfortunately, exec command on Cisco iOS only allows a single command. Consider the following example with exec command for the connection. Let's try that. So it's going to be in our VNC. Let's do okay, so we've already got our connection. So yeah, let's use the exec command now. So stdn, stdout, stder equals connection dot exec command show version type include capital V, control N. And I think let's see here. So let's see here. Session not active. Well, why is it not active? I thought it was. Well, if it's not active, let's reactivate it. So let's do connection.connect. Perfect. Now let's do the command now that is hopefully connected. I'll type it out again. I know it's in my buffer, but that's okay. Oh, so we didn't get the whole thing for some reason. This is probably, so everything works great. However, if you look at the number of sessions on the Cisco device, you will notice that the connection is dropped by the Cisco device without you closing the connection. So we'll probably only see, yep, we don't have a ETY connection now. Because the SSH session is no longer active, exec command will return an error if you want to send more commands to the remote device. Oops. I don't want that to be up there anymore. So move that there, move that here, move this here, and let's try sending another command to the device. But it's, as we know, it's going to fail because when you use that other version of configuring, which I don't know why we're even talking about if you're not going to use it, it will, I mean, why don't we just talk about picking strawberries? Is that going to help with network automation? So session not active, there we go, long story short. All right, moving on. In the previous example, the new connection.receive command displayed what was in the buffer and implicitly cleared it out for us. But what would happen if you did not clear out the received buffer? The output would just keep on filling up the buffer and would overwrite it. Yep, so this is that special I wrote a special function for this. It's only like 15 lines that makes using Parameco a dream come true. It's everything you would always want. Because yeah, all these are actually good points the author's making. There are lots of reasons why using Parameco it can be a pain, but I wrote about 15 lines of code that made it so that all those reasons just disappear. So let's do new connection.send. And I'm going to need to rebuild this new connection. So yeah, I don't have a connection to the device right now, so I don't know why they think I can do that. So let's do connection equals, oh, let's go back up here. What was it? Oh, connection.connect. Oh, what's the other one? Yep, and then allow agent equals false. Had to learn what those do the hard way. Okay, and then we're going to do new connection equals connection dot invoke shell. And now let's enter that command. New. Oh, and I did new connect. God damn it, instead of connection. Let's just say new connection equals new connect. Okay, and now let's do new connection dot send version pipe capital V. Perfect. New connection dot send show version pipe include V again. And then they want us to do it one more time. Now let's do the new connection.recv. Perfect. So we've got everything. For consistency of the deterministic output, we will retrieve the output from the buffer each time we execute a command. So yeah, that's a good point. I mean, you can see here, we've got it showing up multiple times. And not only that, we've got the banner showing up. So yeah, I agree. You want to clear out that buffer every time you send a command. And then if you want to keep the contents of the command, you save that action of clearing out the buffer and use that. Yep. So our first Perimeco program, will use the same general structure as the pexpect program we have put together. We will loop over a list of devices and commands while using Parameco instead of pexpect. This will give us a good compare and contrast of the differences between Parameco and pexpect. If you have not done so already, you can download the code chapter 2_3.py from the book's GitHub repository. I will list the notable differences here. So we're going to have some notable differences as well. This is going to be .2.21. We no longer need to match the device prompt using Parameco. Therefore, the device dictionary can be simplified. Commands equals show version, show run. There is no send line equivalent in Perimeco. Instead, we manually include the new line break in each of the commands. Def clear buffer connection, if connection.receive ready, return connection.receive max buffer. We include a new method to clear the terminal for sending commands, to clear the buffer for sending commands such as terminal length 0 or enable, because we do not need the output for these commands. We simply want to clear the buffer and get to the execution prompt. This function will later be used in the loop, such as in line 25 of the script. Output equals clear underscore buffer, new underscore connection. The rest of the program should be pretty self-explanatory, similar to what we have seen in this chapter. The last thing I would like to point out is that since this is an interactive program, we place some time buffer and wait for the command to be finished on the remote device before retrieving the output, time.sleep 5. After we clear the buffer during the time between the execution of commands, we will wait 5 seconds. This will give the device adequate time to respond if it is busy. So it looks like they're not going to go over that. Yeah, they're just saying that you're going to, they're just inviting you to download that script and modify it and run it yourself. They're not going to go through line by line and have you recreate it like they did with the other one. So let's take them up on that offer. And this is a good opportunity to learn how to use GitHub too, which is a really valuable tool for learning, for sharing code and maintaining it. So let's grab this link here. Oh, and unfortunately, this VNC client doesn't allow us to move back and forth, so we can just type it out, no big deal. But in order to get it, we're going to have a Git repository. So let's create one. So ls, we're going to make our own folder. So let's do mkdir mastering Python repo, and let's do a git init on, well, and then let's just do a git. Do we have it? Yeah, we do git clone, and then we will oops, it's HTTPS. Oops, and I got to use a period, not a comma. So yep, now we're cloning it into a folder. So we're gonna get everything that they've got up there. Unfortunately, I only wanted a bit. Oh, and then we won't need the folder we've got because we've got their folder. So now if I do ls-al type grep for git, you notice we don't have anything. That's because you've got to go into the actual repo. And yep, so now we've got the actual git repo here with all the branches, everything like that. So now we can actually do like a git branch, and we can see all the branches that are available to us. We do a git checkout -b, create our own branch. Let's try to get, well, we're already checked out on the master branch, so I think we're good to go on that. So yeah, let's move into chapter 2, I think. And then let's see which one this was. So this was chapter 2, and it's chapter 2_3. So let's edit that. So by chapter 2_3.py. And now, of course, we're going to have different IP addressing. .2 here. And you can see, yep, here's the max buffer, but I found in production environment where it's not going to be a unicorn environment where everything goes perfect hunky-dory. You're going to have to write a special function to pull in more data than the max buffer, because oftentimes the data you need to pull in from a device is larger than the max buffer can give you back. All right, but I think this should be good. That's the only change that was required. Looks like my toolbar just randomly popped up out of nowhere again and is blocking my view. So I will move that back. Oops, and I'm in insert mode, not command mode. Perfect. So let's do a Python chapter 2_3 and see what this does for me. So this is the kind of programming I've had a lot of experience with at the beginning of my career. Just pulling back information from the devices, even configuring large amounts of devices. I've had a lot of experience for this. I actually got a reward for the work I've done for this, because it would have taken months of manual labor, expensive manual labor too, because it would be given to contractors. And I took the whole project and did it in a matter of hours. That would have been months and probably would have required special staffing to complete. So that's the power behind even this simple basic stuff. It's really valuable stuff to know about. All right, so yeah, everything went good with that. We got all our commands back, and we can see that the Parameco module really is a valuable thing to know. So, yep, so I think we read up to there. Let's keep reading. More Parameco features. We will look at Perimeco a bit later in chapter 4, the Python automation framework, Ansible basics, when we discuss Ansible, as Perimeco is the underlying transport for many of the network modules. In this section, we will look at some of the other features of Perimeco. And I'm kind of upset at this book again too, because they haven't taught you about the help yet still. And they're devoting a whole section to looking at other features of Perimeco. Well, if you really wanted to teach me the other features of Perimeco, what you would teach me is source. I'm going to activate my virtual environment now. I'm going to go back in here. You would teach me this help, because after I import Perimeco, I could just do help on it like I can for any other module. And I can see all the other features of Perimeco right there. So it's kind of a bit dishonest of the book to kind of teach its readership that you need a book to learn about more features of something when that capability is just baked in. So again, I'm really kind of upset with this book. Not enough for a second strike though, so let's move on. Parameco for servers. Parameco can be used to manage servers through SSH v2 as well. Let's look at an example of how we can use Parameco to manage servers. We will use key-based authentication for the SSH v2 session. In this example, I used another Ubuntu virtual machine on the same hypervisor as the destination server. You can also use a server on the viral simulator or an instance in one of the public cloud providers, such as Amazon AWS EC2. We will generate a public key for our Parameco host, SSH key gen-d RSA. This command by default will generate a public key named id_rsa.pub as the public key transfer under the user home directory home/.ssh, along with a private key named id_rsa. Treat the private key with the same attention you would private passwords that you do not want to share with anybody else. you can think of the public key as a business card that identifies who you are. Using the private and public keys, the message will be encrypted by your private key locally and decrypted by the remote host by using the public key. We should copy the public key to the remote host. In production, we can do this via out of band using a USB drive. In our lab, we can simply copy the public key to the remote host's home/.ssh/authorized keys file. Open up a terminal window for the remote server so you can paste in the public key. Copy the content of the public key on your management host with Parameco. Okay, so we're going to need another server, which unfortunately means we're going to need to add another network adapter to this. And we can see we can't do that. One, when links are supported, are already connected, and two, when it's up. So we're going to power down everything. We're going to unconnect these links. Then we're going to change our VM template for this Ubuntu server to unfortunately add those 10 to it. I actually made the executive decision not to do that because I apparently wanted to go back and do it later, but at the time it was because I didn't want to deal with a bunch of extra adapters. But let's add, how about 2 more? And then unfortunately, the really sad part is that all the configurations we made on this Ubuntu server are going to go away because the 2 more adapters are unfortunately on the server, on a new server created from that new template. This one's created from the old template, so we only have the ability to have 4 adapters, unless it's going to cooperate. It is. Okay, actually, never mind. Sweet. So yeah, we're good. We're good. Yeah. Oh, really happy about that. So yeah, let's create our second Ubuntu server. Let's wire everything up again. Come on. All right, and then let's wire these 2 up. And reboot the, or start up the topology again. And then I think I might need to take a break. It looks like we're gonna end it here. So bookmark that page. I'll be able to come right back to it. And then when I come back, we'll be adding the key. Well, let's bookmark this page actually, because that other page is a little bit ahead. Yeah, so more to come. Stay tuned. Thanks for watching.